Alright, hello guys, Ragnarok Hybrid Revived here, bringing you my major balance issues with Metal Gear Online 3. Now in the last video I talked about my minor suggestions, and in this video I'm talking about, like I said, my major balance issues. So these are the things that are that I feel like they can fix with the game, that aren't like complete deal breakers, but would make the game 1,000 times more fun if they really got on the ball with fixing these things. So right off the bat, I'm just gonna say CQC is balls in this game. It's really bad. Like, for a major mechanic, for a core game mechanic to be this broken is absurd. It's crazy broken. That's why I started a CQC fails series, because I have so many examples of CQC going wrong when it should not go wrong, and I just have to share it with the world because it's absurd. I already have episode 3 on and waiting on deck, and I'm finding more as I go along. I don't have these things archived. If I wanted to, I could go through all the videos I already have and take a bunch of scenes from those, but I'm just gonna keep going forward and finding a bunch more stuff unless they patch it. This is not a series I want to keep going on. I want them to fix it so that I don't have more material to draw from. But anyway, that said, CQC is really bad in this game. The lag and the range of it is just ridiculous. Now, you'll see people grabbing you from like 10 feet away, which is ridiculous. And I think the CQC really favors lag, because a lot of times what will happen is, it's not even that I'm so far away from people and they grab me and I just teleport to where they are, although that does happen. A lot of times what happens is, I'll be in the middle of a diving animation, or I'll be in the middle of a climbing animation, and they'll just grab me, and I'll get caught in their grab. And I'm like, it's weird because there are invincibility frames when a person drops down from a balloon, or when a person is waking up from being stunned. There are invincibility frames, so you can't grab them in that time. But there's not an invincibility frame for grabs when you're diving out of the way of something. Like, really? There have been so many times when I dove out of the way of a CQC grab and still got caught in it. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do then? Am I just like supposed to just sit there and take it? And then I watched a kill cam video or something like that of one of my teammates diving out of the way continuously of a CQC grab. And I was like, if that were me, I would have already gotten caught by the first one if I tried to dive out of the way. So I don't know. And it's not like, oh, I pressed the button too late or something. No, I'll be in the middle of a dive and then just teleport to where the guy is inside his grab. Or he'll slam me down instantly while I'm in the middle of a grab. It's really weird. And it's annoying, and they need to do something about it, because the CQC is completely, it's bogus in this game. And for a core mechanic, like I said, it has to be more stable than that. But in a weird way, it kind of reminds me of Metal Gear Online 2, because Metal Gear Online 2 was also incredibly glitchy, and especially when it came to CQC. So you had people teleporting out of the way non-stop of random stuff, especially if you hit them with a grenade or something, and you shot them, they would teleport somewhere else completely. So I'm not even sure if the CQC in this game is more broken than the CQC was in Metal Gear Online 2. I would have to do some sort of comparison video, which is not currently possible. Anyway, all that's to say, they need to lower the range of CQC significantly, and also make it less broken. I don't know how they would do that, maybe fix network issues or whatever, but yeah, they need to do something, definitely. Also, CQC slams are overpowered. They're just way overpowered. And I'm not just saying that because I'm annoyed by them, which I am, but I'm also saying that with some factual evidence to back me up. Oh my gosh, a gamer with factual evidence? Can you believe this? Well, here's the thing. CQC slams are one-hit KO. So a lot of the times you'll see people sprinting up to other people and just slamming them down and killing them right then and there. It's just like, not killing them with the slam, but killing them after they slam them and knock them out. So that alone just kind of makes me uncomfortable, because it's like, really, this is a stealth game, but you can just run up to someone, slam them down, and be done with them. That already should bother people. But that's not the evidence part of it. The evidence is you have choking in the game. You can choke someone out. And obviously the developers encourage you to choke people because there's a whole skill which makes choking more effective. It makes it so that you can choke people out a lot faster. But if you can slam someone down in the same amount of time it takes to choke someone out, excuse me, what's the point of choking them out? Really, like, what's the point of getting them in a chokehold and then choking them out, which takes a way longer time than it does to just slam someone, if you can slam someone and have the same exact result? You also get the same amount of points for stunning them, and you can get done with everything a lot faster. You can slam them and move on with your life. So why sit there and choke someone and be vulnerable? You know what I mean? And then there's also the Fulton Punch. The Fulton Punch is a level 3 skill, which means it takes 3 of the 4 slots of skill slots to use. And what it does is you punch someone and then you instantly Fulton them to do that. Not instantly, I should say, but you automatically Fulton them after you punch them. But I would argue, I haven't done a side-by-side comparison, so I'm not entirely sure about this. But it seems to me like slamming someone down and Fultoning them is almost as fast as Fulton punching someone. Not to mention the Fulton Punch range is terrible. Absolutely terrible. You would think that with the CQC range being as ridiculous as it is, that the Fulton Punch range would be at least as viable, but it's not. It's really not. I've tried Fulton punching myself, and I've only been able to successfully do it once. Maybe I just suck, but I think the range of it is also really, really bad. Like, you have to be, like, directly on the money to hit someone, which is sort of how it should be, but for a level 3 skill to have worse range than basic CQC is kind of ridiculous. And there's no point in using that level 3 skill, which is supposed to automatically Fulton people, if you can just CQC slam someone down, have them be knocked out instantly, and then Fulton them that way. Also, with Fulton punching, I don't think you get points for stunning them. So if you can slam someone down, knock them out like that, and get the points for stunning them, and then Fulton them right after, and take up just around the same amount of time as a Fulton punch would take, which is harder to execute, then what the heck is the point of spending the slots on a level 3 skill? And I hope the developers really take that to heart, because that's a balance issue, not just with the player versus player balance, but also with the game mechanics itself. So I hope that they really take a look at that and really make it so that CQC slams are at least a 2-hit KO and not a 1 slam KO as they are right now, because it's ridiculous. And I don't just mean the slams, I also mean punches and other stuff like that. There's no reason to use a chokehold or to Fulton punch someone if you can just slam them down and knock them out that way. Other things, sleep gas grenade launchers, totally overpowered. Totally overpowered in Bounty Hunter and in Cloak and Dagger. I don't mean sleep gas grenades by themselves, I mean the grenade launchers. And if you defend them, you're probably one of the people who uses them the most. Because, man, you get into a gunfight with these people and instantly you and your brother and your brother's mother are all, assuming you and your brother have a different mother, which is possible. It's totally possible and quite likely, actually. Are all knocked out. Everyone's knocked out in the general vicinity, and rarely does the person using the sleep gas grenade launcher actually knock themselves out, which I've noticed. It's possible to do it, but it's very rare. You're more likely to knock yourself out with a sleep gas grenade, or rather a sleep gas mine, which is annoying, which I'll get to in a second. I actually haven't written this one down, so I don't have it off the top of my head. So I'll get to that in a second. But sleep gas grenade launchers are overpowered because you can just spam the crap out of the grenades, and they need to either make it so that they have way less ammo, because they have a lot of ammo, way more ammo than they should have. So need to make it so that the rate of fire is severely less. Need to make it so that the radius of the explosion is severely less. And maybe even something else, because the way that they are now, if you can just knock someone out instantly by aiming at them, and not even aiming at them, but aiming in their general vicinity, then why would anyone go with anything else, especially in modes where knocking someone out is such a big benefit, like Bounty Hunter and Cloak and Dagger. What's like, why run with anything else if you can just do that? So I really think they need to make it so that the sleep gas grenade launchers, not the sleep gas grenade, but the sleep gas grenade launchers are less powerful. Also very powerful are stun grenades. Stun grenades by themselves, I don't mean the launchers, I don't even know if there are stun grenade launchers. But stun grenades by themselves are just really freaking powerful. They can knock people out. Like one time, me and 3 of my buddies in Cloak and Dagger were like rushing the enemy spawn, and someone threw a stun grenade, and all 3 of us were knocked out and killed within the instant. Not killed by the stun grenade, obviously, but killed afterward. And it was like, wow. Like, I couldn't even be mad, really, because I was like, wow, that was kind of weird. But a lot of times, someone will just throw a stun grenade, and there's a counter to it. You get in your cardboard box, and you counter it that way. But if you don't know that it's coming, then it's just an instant KO, and there's really no defense to it. No one's going to be running around in a cardboard box for the entire match. So I think they just need to make the effective radius of it less broad. Like, you have to actually be pretty exact with your stun grenade in order to knock someone out with it. I wouldn't mind if it did like some sort of damage to it. It already makes you kind of blind for a moment, which is a good use for it. But if it also made you sort of like, I don't know, dazed for a while, I wouldn't mind. But I just don't like it knocking you out entirely when it's like a really broad stroke. Someone just threw it in your general area and it automatically knocks you out. That's kind of ridiculous, I think, anyway. And I remember having the same problem with Metal Gear Online 2. Stun grenades were just so freaking powerful, and people would spam the crap out of them. Maybe that's one of those things, just to make it so that people can't hold 1,000 of them. They can only hold like 2 or 3 of them at a time. And shotguns. I people might predict this because I hate shotguns in every game, but I actually don't hate lethal shotguns in this game. What I hate are non-lethal shotguns. I think that they are kind of overpowered. I don't think that they're super overpowered like sleep gas grenade launchers. I do think that non-lethal shotguns are a little too powerful for Bounty Hunter and Cloak and Dagger. I think that the rate of fire needs to be severely lower, so that people can't just and knock someone out instantly. Like, it needs to be something a lot slower so that people can't just spam shotguns. So I'm just anti-spam. What can I say? That's my dietary restriction. Anyway, next. Oh yeah, before I forget, sleep gas mines. I think they're not underpowered, but they're kind of a double-edged sword. I feel like the sleep gas mines in Metal Gear Online 2, I don't know if they had them in Metal Gear Online 2 actually, but the sleep gas mines in Metal Gear Solid 4 were way better in that when you set them down, they took a second to prime, and they wouldn't blow up before they primed. Or they wouldn't not blow up, but they wouldn't go off before they primed. So I like that a lot better, and I wish that the sleep gas mines were like that in this game, where you set them down and they take like a second to prime, because I set down a sleep gas mine and like it instantly went off. I didn't even stand next to it for a second. Like, I set it down and started running away instantly, and it already had gone off. And I was like, what the heck? Like, what's the use of the sleep gas mine if it doesn't wait for the enemy to show up? It just goes off right when I set it down. So I think it needs some sort of priming second or two so that it doesn't go off instantly once you set it down. Of course, if you stay there and it goes off, that's your own fault. But it shouldn't be going off if you like walk away once you set it off. And moving on, I think both teams should have spawn invincibility for the first few moments of each round, in every game mode. So that includes Cloak and Dagger, because sometimes I'll see, you know, literally on Grey Rampart, Rush mode, in Cloak and Dagger, the attacking team, which is the invisible team in Cloak and Dagger, or the team that's supposed to be invisible, I'll get to that in a second, they can be seen instantly. Once the defending team spawns. So the defending team can spawn and instantly start shooting, and in some cases killing members of the attacking team. And that's not fair, man. You don't respawn in Cloak and Dagger, so you only get that one life, and if you get killed right out of the spawn, then what the heck? That's not even fun. That's not even fair. So spawn invincibility, except if you draw your weapon, obviously. There was another little issue with the Fulton trap, Fultoning people who had spawn invincibility in Bounty Hunter. I don't know why this happens, but the trap goes off. And what the weird thing is, I don't think the player who placed down the trap actually gets a score for the Fulton. But the Fulton will go through anyway. So if a player spawns next to a Fulton trap, which happens more often than you might think, and the Fulton trap gets them, which happens more often than you might think, then they'll be caught in it even though they have spawn invincibility. So yeah, so that's a little weird and annoying and needs to be fixed. And lastly, for major balance issues, except for the way big one that I'm about to explain in a second, which I might actually do in a different video, but there needs to be limited universal ammo for gun emplacements, mortars, and walker gears. There already is for walker gears, I just realized that. But for mortars and gun emplacements, because those things get spammed to death. Oh my gosh, you play Cloak and Dagger on Jade Forest and people will spam the ever-living heck out of mortars. Oh my goodness. Until the entire enemy team, or at least half of them, are dead, they will spam mortars. So I think there needs to be limited universal ammo. Also, they could take away one of the mortars on that stage, for goodness sake. For real, like, there don't need to be 4 mortars on one stage. There might even be 5, I'm not sure. But there are a lot of mortars on Jade Forest. They could take one away, at least. And those are my major balance issues I have with the game. Let me know what you guys think about that. I think I'm going to do my Cloak and Dagger balance issues in another segment. It's just mainly 3 basic things, but I do want to go in detail with that. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good one, and subscribe if you liked the video. And I will see you guys on the next video.